everyone, and thank you for joining us here on the Peacocks podcast. We are your hosts, Andrew Gachigi and Shola Ogonyemi. Two
You say
powerful
it better
names
than
that,
me. You say it better than I do. Jesus
hey, two
Christ.
strong names, man. You got to enjoy them when you say them. You know what I'm saying? Today we'll be covering an array of subjects, huh? We'll just be letting it riff, letting it go, see how it's go. Just go through several things. We have a book, a play, even we're gonna talk about, and a couple films. Red Velvet with my guy Adrian Lester. But first things first, Mr. Ogonyemi, how you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good. I'm chilling. I'm in my room. Got my incense on. Got my hippie hoodie on. I'm chilling. I've got my decaf tea. It's all good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my coffee. Oh, also, viewers, before I forget, if you ever want to drop us an email, you can reach us at our Peacock Podcast email address, which is peacockpodcast1 at gmail.com. You also find it in the show notes, and there's no capitals there at all.
Perfect. Perfect, guys. Yeah. That's if you want to drop us any kind of subjects that you feel is necessary for the podcast, just let us know, and then we can just vibe with that. We can riff with that and see how it goes.
Mhm.
Andrew, I didn't ask you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Just chilling out, in the house as it is, as it's been. Got my coffee here with my turmeric and cayenne pepper in because I'm crazy.
That's
People
it.
will
Some
think I'm mad for
self-care.
that.
You have it every time. It's a
Yeah,
shame. It's a shame we're so distant, brother. Do you know, if I was there, I'd come give you a hug, but obviously we can't right now. So
I
it's
haven't
only
hugged
virtual
anyone in
hugs.
weeks, man. I
No.
haven't hugged anyone in weeks, and it's getting to me a little bit. I love
Nah,
hugging people. I just love hugs, but no.
it's rough, man.
Jeez, how
It's
you
rough.
been dealing with the whole lockdown situation?
It's been all right. You know, you have your good days and bad days. I think having some sort of stability has been helpful. I've been doing certain things like you introduced me to a new online course. If anyone wants to try it, not advertised by the way, is Learning How to Learn by Barbara Walter.
Barbara
Really,
Oak.
Barbara Oakley. I've
Yeah.
got confused with another woman. Sorry, my bad. Obviously, I haven't been learning the material properly,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've been doing that, and even a couple of informational like info related videos that you've been sending me. They've also been relating to what I've been learning. So I've been trying
Okay.
to learn a bit much, but that's on the good days. On the bad days, you know, it's just is what it is. Some days you spend a bit too long in bed. Some days you just don't want to do anything. But
Mm.
that's just how it is sometimes.
Yeah,
You know?
I know what you mean. Gee.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I've been yeah, I just been kind of keep trying to keep myself busy any way I can. So like reading, I read Red Velvet. I'm reading about to read Waiting for Godot as well.
Oh wow, by
I
Samuel
know,
Beckett.
right? So I'm looking forward to reading that because I've never read it before. But yeah, it's like it's a great book for actors. Well, I've been told every actor should read this book, Waiting for Godot. So make it read the play even. So I'm making sure I'm gonna read that.
Just gonna add that to my Amazon wish list
Yeah, do
really
it, man.
quick.
Do it. Samuel Beck is actually a very interesting person to step into. Very creative guy. So yeah, I
Yeah.
suggest looking into his stuff. And also watch on YouTube. He has a show called Not I. That's out
It,
there for theater. It's really out there. I'd say check it out. I
it's
haven't
just
seen it in years.
wait, so it's a live show or it's a series?
No, it's just like a one-off show. Or just one show. I'm not
Oh,
sure how long it was actually.
oh, I just remembered. I wanted to send you something actually. They have a like the Royal Shakespeare Company's doing free versions of all a certain amount of plays on YouTube, so you can watch Romeo
Oh,
and Juliet for free
and
on
National
YouTube,
Theatre is doing something similar as well.
dude. I
It's
think
cool, isn't it?
that's one of the benefits, right? It's one of the
I
benefits.
know, I'm not gonna lie, like, the theater aspect of it all is amazing. What they're doing now to kind of just to keep people interested in the theater and also just to showcase some amazing shows for free, which is brilliant. Like, oh man, every Thursday I think National Theatre's doing it.
Oh, that's
It's brilliant.
awesome.
You get to learn and get to, watch some cool stuff.
Yeah. Have you watched any yourself recently?
Plays, not any just yet, but I want to see if I can watch what's it called? Two, it's James Corden's one. He did two governors, one house, two governors, something like that. Two governors. I need to. I'm gonna have to Google
I'm
this.
no help for you. I'm no help for you. Don't worry. We won't quote you on that. Don't worry. James Gordon fans are coming after you. Don't you worry.
Like I actually just can't. I can't believe I can't remember the name of it. Mad. But yeah, no, it's meant to be a really good show. I'll figure out the name and I'll
Yeah,
let
we'll
you guys
figure it.
know.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
But yeah,
But
so I
yeah,
plan on watching that.
yeah. And you also suggested to me. I was like, it was so crazy. I was about to go out skating a couple of days ago. Then you text me saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, uh, there's a webinar going on." Sorry, I forgot. What was it called again?
Mind games.
Mind Games. Yeah, Mind Games going on. It's a webinar. You should check it out, and it's going to be on in like an hour. And I was like, "Dude, I'm like going out skating right now." And you're like, "Oh, just try and catch it if you can." So I just did like a quick session, just starting to learn. So basically, fell over a couple of times, came back on, put it on. They're like, "Oh, it's going to be a 3 hour webinar." When she started, I was like, "Oh, damn." So I just thought, stick to it. I'll stick with it. But then as I started getting through it, I was like, I started kind of soaking it up a bit more. But I thought, I'll grab my book, start writing it all down. But it was quite, it was interesting because she started talking about certain. I mean, you've seen her a lot. You've seen a lot. Uh, Valerie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's her last name again?
Valerie Hubbard. She
See
runs
that?
the Actors Fast Track in America, and
Yes.
also bring it here to London as well, to England.
She's UK based right now, I think. That's what she was saying in the thing. She said,
Really?
she said, well, she said when she was doing the webinar, "Oh, I'm UK based right now."
Oh snap! No way, because I know she was here for Surviving
Surviving
Actors
actors, yeah,
back a few months back. That was February. Yeah, February. So I
yeah.
would have thought she would have gone back by then.
Well, that was one of the that's what she said in the
Mad.
webinar. Anyways,
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what she's
Uh,
still doing here. Nuts.
I mean, maybe she can't leave.
Yeah, isn't it?
Maybe
Just
she just
stuck.
can't leave. But her stuff was really really good. I mean, I won't bring it out now. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. Is she started talking about how some folks are even still getting jobs currently. So people would get commercials, and the company would send them some iPhones and some of the equipment, and then they would get paid for that, but they would teach them how to like use the equipment and everything around that. But one of the issues that Valerie brought up is, did you get paid for what you did? Because technically you should get paid more for having to set up and use that equipment. But she's saying right now, this is all new. There's no rules for this right now, so everyone's trying to figure out what's the best kind of um, situation and best kind of way to deal with it. So she's saying you have to bargain a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, this isn't happening to me. This isn't happening to me, but for certain people, I think that's something also just to be aware of, that you can negotiate
But that's
with
interesting
certain
because I wouldn't
things.
have thought that about that at all.
Yeah,
Because you're
yeah,
thinking, yeah, I'm an actor usually, so I wouldn't think I need to, because I'm setting up the camera and everything. I wouldn't think about getting paid for those other jobs at all.
yeah, yeah. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you just have. Just don't want to push it. Don't want to push
Oh,
it.
Shola, I think we lost you a little bit there. What did you say? Sometimes you have to.
Some sometimes you just have to. What did I say? Sometimes you just feel like you're just happy to get the job, and sometimes you just
Yeah,
don't want to push it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That too, that too. Because if you wouldn't do it, there's 100 other actors that would do it.
exactly, exactly. But no, it was quite good. So I appreciate sending me over there.
Anytime,
Yeah,
like, no, like it was interesting. It was a shame that even though I told you to watch it, I missed it myself. Because
right,
yeah, my
bye,
cousin
Shala.
just
See
came
you later.
by. He swung by to put some stuff in our little cellar, which is like it was so funny. It was so good to see him again, but then we had to keep this like social distancing, so we did a little elbow touch, and then we had to like stay 2 meters away while we're loading stuff in and out of the cellar and everything. So I
Mhm.
couldn't even like give him a handshake or anything. It was so yeah, it was a bit weird, bit of a weird
That
experience.
that that's how it felt when I came over to do the last episode, though, because this was just I'd say maybe 5 days before the lockdown,
Hmm.
and you came up, and I was thinking in my head, should I give him a hug? But then you just went for it. I was like, do you know what? It's cool. It's cool. But then before like introducing myself to your brother, I had to go and wash my hands. I was like, no, I don't want to do it like that because I've been traveling for an hour and a half to come see you. So
Hmm.
yeah. But now we're on Skype. You know, thank God for
Yeah,
Skype.
really.
You know, the
On the
podcast lives.
privacy of our own home.
It's good. It's
I've
good. I
been
do miss it. I do
last
miss your
month
basement
and a
though.
half.
I'm not gonna lie.
Pardon?
I do miss your basement though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the proper like shelter area,
It's good. It's good. Bomb-proof as
office
well.
style. Mm.
Bomb-proof. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's been weird being stuck in the house for so long though. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want, yeah, we don't want to stress about it too much, the whole coronavirus, take everyone's mind off of it. But yeah, it's been weird being in the house so much.
Yeah.
Been
Yeah.
strange. I've been working out at home quite a bit.
It's
Working
it must
juggles
be
as well.
it must be difficult trying to work out and keep fit when you know it's such a change of environment and typically an environment where you chill out. It must be quite difficult for you to adapt to that.
Well, to be fair, I mostly work out at home anyway.
Okay.
'Cause I don't go to a gym or anything.
But you
'Cause,
go
yeah,
you must sometimes go to the park and stuff to do like
yeah, here and there. Yeah, I
calisthenics
used
and
to go to
stuff.
the
Yeah.
park for, I used to go to the little kids play area when it was quiet and use the bar as a chin up bar.
Sometimes you gotta. Sometimes you
Yeah,
gotta.
sometimes you have to. So that's about like, yeah, that's the only equipment I ever use is maybe a chin up bar. But I've been freestyling with different things in my house to try, make workouts a bit harder. Because I've been working out, yeah, a lot more than usual. Because I got the
Yeah.
time to eat nice, so I might as well. And
Yeah. But
but yeah,
you but
trying to,
you but you've been trying to do a lot of like self-care though, haven't you? I mean, you've been like away from. I mean, I know you don't typically spend all day on your phone or anything like that, but you've been kind of like detoxing from you know, technology and stuff. So do you mind
yeah,
covering a bit of that?
yeah, I've been trying to do like just a low information diet in general. So my phone's been on do not disturb for I think a week and a half, maybe more.
Mm,
So like hasn't rang or hasn't anything. I just got on do not disturb. I usually keep it on the table in another room. I don't keep it in my pocket anymore. Just because it's a constant distraction, it's a constant, yeah, it steals your focus everyone. It vibrates or anything, and then next thing you know, you're on it for like half an hour. So I wanted to cut that, and as well because it's a lot of stimulation for the brain. Um, iPhones just constant, like so much information is coming at you that, and then TV and then that, and then sometimes I used to be on my phone, like on the computer, TV on as well. So it's a lot. So I thought, let me cut all the noise and just try, yeah, try just not have any screens on at all for like the majority of the day because that's
mm,
meant to be good for your focus. When you take away all the stimulus or all the stimulation for your brain, then your brain now can somehow sharpen its focus. I'm not sure the mechanics of it, but it's meant to work. And do you know what? It's actually starting to work now.
yeah.
Yeah, I can find myself like when I read Red Velvet. I just sat there for like a few hours just like phone was completely away, just read it all, pop, 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 pop,
Did
no
you bang it
distraction.
out in 1 hour? Did you bang it out in like one session?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I had like I think just a small break. I went to the shop just to pick up something quick, then came back and carried on reading it. So yeah, I
Wow.
kind of mashed it
I
out.
took like 3 or 4 sessions for me.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to like really because like I did like 2 chapters. Like, okay, I'm just gonna sit down and indulge that in. But no, I mean when you're feeling it, right? When you feel how
Yeah,
you
no, I
want
did
to.
take like 5 minute breaks here and there. Just let me catch my breath. Let me just regain my focus. And I
Yeah,
made sure I didn't check my phone during that as well, or check any other screen. Because yeah, actually, there's a good point. This guy was saying on the YouTube video. I have to find the name of that video again. But he was saying that like say if I came off studying or reading or something and then thought let me relax by going on my phone and just go on my phone, maybe scroll through social media or play a little game. It's still a lot of stimulus for your brain. It's not you're not giving your brain a break. So it's like
yeah.
if you're going for a run and you run half an hour and you're like, cool, let me take a break by doing 40 burpees, and then carry on running again. It's not helpful, not really, because you don't get a chance to really breathe and catch a breath and yeah, really regain focus again. So that's why I'm trying to make sure to have just these real breaks in there.
So see when you say like when you're going for a run and like you stopped and did some burpees, I think so what you mean is like
Using burpees as a break from running and then going back to running again.
so instead you're saying you should keep running or just stop and like be in that moment.
Yeah, stop, catch a breath, maybe stretch and that. Or else you won't have the energy
Hmm.
or the power to keep
Yeah.
going, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You'll burn yourself out. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely,
And that's what they
absolutely.
say, mental burnout.
One of the yeah, yeah, and I think that's one of the things that I've been learning on learning how to learn is typically when I used to do some certain tasks, I would say, right, okay, so I'll read Red Velvet all. I'll read it all in one session or something like that, or I'll read two chapters or something like that. But
Yeah,
they say it's better to actually have like a time frame.
the
Uh,
Pomodoro technique.
exactly, brother.
Uh-huh.
Pomodoro technique. Have a time frame that you work with, and like try and get away from all distractions, and that like if you set yourself an hour, give yourself an hour just to sit away from those distractions, and always at the like if it's like an issue that say it's something like you're quite anxious about. Sometimes I get quite anxious about doing a big project that I wanted to do or something like even acting. Something like
Hmm.
I got anxious when you sent me the seminar, but I thought, I'm just going to sit down. I'm just going to sit there for 10 minutes and see how it goes. And I did sit there for 10 minutes. I ended up staying there for 3 hours, do you know? So, and I ended up feeling a lot more less anxious as time went on. So I think for me, I just feel better even just sitting there for saying to myself, I'll just give myself an hour for studying this thing, and then the rest of the day seems like it goes a lot easier because your mind is less anxious, and because it's on that thing. Or I'll do it in an hour, I'll do it in 2 hours or something like that.
I say procrastinate. I'll do it in an hour.
Yeah,
I'll do it a bit
yeah,
later. Yeah. So where
yeah.
did that anxiety come from then? For like when I
The
sent you
anxiety,
yeah.
the anxiety. I mean, I've long story short, it's kind of been there ever since I was when I moved from uh I was in my second year of uni, and I was staying in Ayr. Can you hear that horn? I was in second year of uni, and then I moved from Ayr campus to Glasgow. But I would commute to Ayr to do it, and I was living with
Quickly,
a
what's air?
girlfriend.
Sorry.
Ayr is a place in Scotland.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a little less seaside town. It's where I went to uni. And but when I used to live with my ex, it wasn't a very good relationship. And I think at the same time I was away from uni, and I didn't really have much purpose. It's kind of like you just kind of graduated in a sense, and you're like, okay, I want to try and make it as an actor. And there's no rule book for it. There's no instructions. So I
Yeah.
kind of went blind, and at the same time, like I had this other person who was also trying to find her way, and we just didn't communicate very well. So a lot of anxiety came from that. And I feel like just through meditation and certain things, I've found my way to be a little bit more centered. And I think everyone has their own different way of dealing with it. Some people do yoga, some people just like try gardening, whatever kind of way, just to
Hmm.
separate from your head, because it can really it can really crush you sometimes. It's unnerving, and not a lot of people like I think it's important that we talk about it as well. That we have a community like like me and you just right now just talking about this, because it is
Hmm.
important to not let it own you, and not like feel like that you're in the wrong for feeling these things.
Yeah, it's true, and it's good to speak about it as well.
Mm,
Because I get anxious over certain things, and I just keep quiet about it. Like, I don't know. It's something I've always struggled with. Is like just that being open, being vulnerable kind of style. I've always really struggled with that.
yeah.
So
Well, I
being
mean
open. Sorry, what you gonna say?
no, it's just really interesting because I wouldn't ever peg you as that kind of person, because typically with a lot of guys, like they even like certain things like showing affections to another male, it's like really almost seem as like quite feminine, homosexual, but you're
Hmm.
like very honest with that. Like
Oh no, I love showing love.
you
Everyone, like, I'm
love
a very
that,
affectionate person. Yeah.
but obviously everyone has their own different kind of ways of showing anxiety or insecurities. But so you never would have tagged me as that kind of person.
Yeah, so like
uh
when I'm going through a struggle, like for the most part, I wouldn't really talk about it. It's just one thing I don't know, like I don't know exactly know what it is that in my head that I'm like, just put on the mask of everything's fine. But
mm,
yeah, I'm not sure what it is exactly, but it's just always in me. So I always struggle to say, no, I'm not feeling the best, or in fact, yeah, I don't really say that at all. Come to think of it.
Yeah.
It's one
Do
thing I
you
think. Yeah, I need to learn.
do you feel like sometimes it maybe put a bit too much pressure on yourself?
Oh yeah, all the time, man. All the time. That's one thing with this. Also with this lockdown, I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself. Like, all right, Andrew, you're in the house all day. You need to really just level up. You need to come out of here just so much better than when you went in. You need to have everything sorted out. So I tend to put a lot of pressure on myself in that kind of terms. So yeah, that could be that's a bit annoying.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was totally why. Even in that time when I was staying in Glasgow, it was the same. You know, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and and just trying to like find ways, like, okay, yeah, you're feeling this way, but that's okay. Just push through. But it feels like for me, sometimes when I was doing that, I would just push myself even further away from the goal. It'd just be like, okay, we're not actually taking note of the things that's going on past us. We're just trying to keep going. But sometimes it's good to like stop and go, like, okay, so how does this actually make me feel?
Hmm.
Because I feel like a lot of the time we are like told that we have to work hard, we have to keep pushing, but sometimes it's good to just analyze how we're feeling, because if we don't know why we're feeling a certain way, then we won't get to the root to it.
Yeah.
And that's why so many people are sometimes, yeah, I read a really interesting tweet. It was meant as a joke, but it said, um, I'm afraid of getting help for what's going inside my head, because I feel like I'll lose my sense of humor. So many people feel like
Hmm.
they've found certain ways to cope with these mechanisms that they'll lose their sense of, like, ability, or who they really are. But in a sense, that's just not true at any point, because you've become that person because of these things, because of these issues and these like ways that you've dealt with your issues. You
Yeah.
become that person, so that's never going to lose you. It's just, if anything, it's going to make you better once you, like, kind of open up, or feel it's okay to do that. So I feel that everyone should have a free space to talk about that. Even if it's
Hmm.
journaling, even if it's journaling.
I've been considering journaling. Actually, yeah. Do you have any techniques for maybe people like me that are listening that struggle to really open up?
Oh, I mean, that's kind of hard for me. I mean, I've always been
That was
brutally.
quite a heavy question.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm just always been brutally honest. That's just kind of how it is. Like, I remember, just all the time. Even when I've been a kid, my mum always told me not to lie. So I've just never really lied. I just can't really ever lie. I'm even, yeah. But
Good man.
but in terms, I've just been doing a lot of different self-help techniques. Tony Robbins is a good one to look up to. He's the one who I started off doing all of this with, and I feel like he's like a good example. Not even like, I mean, of course, like what he says and and whatever, but who he is as a person. He's vulnerable. He likes to become vulnerable. Like, he's cried many times on stage, just being open about who he is. And no
Yeah, I
one's
remember I
like
watched his documentary, I'm Not Your Guru. Great
Netflix one.
documentary.
Netflix one, yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
one. That's what got me into him as well. That's what got me
Already.
into him.
Because I
Yeah.
got I got into him about oh wow, like 2014, 2013. A long
All
time
right.
ago. That's when I came across his TED talk, and then from there I was like, this guy really knows his stuff. So I've
Yeah,
been
he
like
does.
dipping in and out of him. It's his things for the last like what, like 7, 8, 7, 6, 6, 7 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't really ever put like a full, like, this is what it is that's going to make you do it. But I mean, I've always had a kind of belief helps. Do you know? I mean, I'm quite a spiritual person, and I believe that we're all like little parts of like a bigger picture. Not in terms of God, but the universe. And for me, that's always helped. But like, kind of like have a higher purpose, and always know, like, if you're not doing too well, then it's okay, because this body, this time right now, doesn't really matter. It's just one of the many lifespans, and it's what you learn of the overall picture from it. And I
Hmm.
just always try and always be nice to people, try and always be good, and like, just again, be honest with yourself, because there's no point lying to. I mean, you can lie to others and stuff like that, but surely you're just lying to yourself.
Hmm.
And so maybe just try and start finding your thing. Try and start finding. your way physically through the body. I always believe that physicality is a way to get it through. There's many different ways of researching through that. For me, meditation was kind of a big step in that. Yoga is a good one for everyone if they want to try that. If you want to, if that's if meditation is not your thing, some people who even try like again, I said gardening or just certain things that make you can be more in nature, go for walks, but without any music, without anything, just you and the trees around you and whatnot. Just
Hmm.
just certain physical things that get your body moving because once the body starts moving, the mind starts working. I won't go. It's a lot to talk about in that sense, but that's what I believe. I think physicality is always important. And even if like sometimes like that might be too much for you, even jump in your shower and turn it to the coldest water, then you're definitely going to start feeling something. We talked about that
Yeah,
before. We
I
talked
like doing
about
that.
yeah.
And do you know what that reminds me? That's what kind of why I miss Canterbury at the moment as well. Because when I'm in Canterbury, if I ever get stressed, I'll just take a nature walk. Like I
Mm,
walk. Gosh, one of the times I walked like I think like 14K. I walked like
jeez.
all the way through a field. Like oh, it was like woods and everything. It was beautiful. No headphones on, no nothing. Just with nature. You can hear the trees, the birds, everything. It was beautiful.
Mm,
And then turn around and walk back through nature
yeah.
again. It was it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I
Absolutely.
missed out. Yeah, so like that's one thing I miss about Canterbury because London there isn't that much greenery here. It's all
Yeah.
buildings. Well, not within
Yeah.
walking distance because right now traveling is a big no-no.
Mm. But I think even like you brought up London, I think even when I first came here, it was so different. My friend
Oh,
like
Shola,
almost like
we
overpowered.
lost you there.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh.
Yeah.
My friend.
So your
Sorry.
friend.
When he came to London, he became almost like overpowered by the sheer size of the buildings. Do you know? It was like something crazy like that. And I think with everyone, there's so many people, there's so much energies about it that you can almost get lost in that. So and when I say just find your center and find how you feel, it can be really difficult for people. So that's why it's better to look inward and that's why I say certain things like these journaling, these cold showers, these
Body scan.
meditation, these exactly a body scan, anything can anything just to get in touch with that side of you, do you know? Because it's important to just check in and see how you're doing.
Hmm.
It's important to check in and see how
Yeah,
you're
that's one
doing.
thing I need to do more of, checking how I'm doing, make sure I'm all right, kind of
You
thing.
also need to give yourself praise though. You've been doing great. Every time I talk to you, I said, "What you been doing?" "Oh, I've just been meditating, bro. Meditating for a couple of hours." Dude, I only meditate for 20 minutes a day. So
I've also taken up there's a breathing technique by a guy called Wim Hof. Have
yes,
you heard
Wim
of Wim
Hof,
Hof?
the
Yeah,
Iceman.
the Ice Man, exactly. The man that's broken so many. Actually, I think we spoke about him a little bit on
We will never stop
first
talking about him.
episode.
You can't stop us from talking about Wim Hof.
Dude's broken world records and everything. So I listen to his breathing like exercises sometimes. Put it in and then you just like I think you do like 30 to 35 deep breaths and then you hold your breath for a minute or a minute and a half and then do another deep breath and I think let it hold it for 15 seconds or let it out for 15 yeah hold it for 15 seconds and then let it out and then I think you start again. But yeah, I remember because when I heard it was a minute and a half holding your breath, I was like, "There's no way I can do that. Are you mad?" But it's surprisingly easy for
Is
me.
it the? Did you say it was like short, sharp breaths at the beginning?
Oh,
Because
like
that's how I
deep
saw
breaths.
him. Oh no, no, yeah, that's how he did it in the when he was going from it was in the Antarctic and he went from one like hole to another and came out the other end.
Yeah,
Don't know if you
that's
saw
some
that one.
madness. That actually
Yeah,
makes me feel sick.
dude, I don't know how he did it. It's
Neither do
scary, you
I.
know.
Being underneath ice, like, oh my goodness. You know what I mean? No.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I
no,
find it good. Like,
he's great. He's great. But I think that's as you said, that's something really key to take away from that is breathing because a lot of people, I've had arguments with my flatmates about this, but breathing deep is always really important to find your center. A lot of people
mhm.
when they breathe deep, they'll go, you know, they'll go chest heavy, but you really
Yeah.
want to breathe deep into your
The
diaphragm. A lot of actors know how to do that, obviously. They've been taught it. And if you don't, then it's okay. But it's always just trying to find as deep as possible, and that way, it kind of finds your center. I used to watch this guy on YouTube. He always had a really good way of describing it. For guys, he used to say you got to breathe deep into your balls. That's what it said. That's
What?
the kind of stuff, and that makes
Yo,
yeah.
cool.
But he was really
Do you
important
know
with
what?
that
Yeah,
kind of
that makes
stuff, and like
sense. Hmm.
yeah,
Just
he
tried
used
it.
to he used to talk about it, and he used to do some things like bioenergetics and stuff like that. I believe that's the name. I hope I'm not confusing it with something else. But it was a time of like it goes back to that physicality thing that I was talking about, where they use this technique a lot for people who have like gone through really harsh kind of circumstances, people who have been raped or worse or whatnot, people who would have the certain people would just start off even with like they have a pillow and they have a tennis racket and they just hit the tennis racket with the pillow and then they start like saying like just feel
Or
it,
hit
and
the
then they
pillow
start
with the
getting
tennis
angry.
racket.
Other way around, you have
That's
the
it.
tennis racket with the pillow.
Wait, hit the tennis
Yeah,
racket with the pillow.
yeah. No, what? You hit the tennis racket. You
Hit
hit
the
the
pillow with the
you
tennis
hit the
racket,
little,
right?
yeah, that one. That's the one. Sorry.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's an example. Whatever one you want to do, whatever you're feeling, right? But it's a sense of like you have this pain inside your body, and it's a way of like it's not saying it's going to cure you, but it's a way of like dealing with that. Do you know?
And also releasing
It's
it, I guess, some of it.
yeah. You see that a lot in movies where people go into or like the people go into like the forest and they scream. Do you know?
Mhm.
Like you need to go into the forest and scream as loud as you can. And they're just like then they do that and then they come back and they're like, yeah, I feel better. I feel more like me. And I think that does have some sense and truth to it, because you're bringing that out there. Because if you're keeping it in tight, then it's not good. We even did that on a spiritual retreat I did. They said there's a little hut inside there. People go there at night, and they if you have any demons or anything that you want to get out, you can go there and you can go and scream, let it out.
Wait, wouldn't everyone else hear you at
They
night?
said they don't care. They don't care. I mean,
Okay,
that if
so
that's if they're in
okay.
the hut, then that's what they're doing.
Would it not wake people up?
That's their process, though. That's their
Okay,
process. They said like they respect whatever everyone wants to do. We also like that was a great retreat. That was a great retreat, but
that sounds cool.
yeah, it was good. That was great because that was a detox from all like technology and stuff like that. Like we
Yeah.
did a lot of tree hugging and stuff, and like I know it sounds weird, and people even might find me like, oh, okay, it's a bit of a happy dippy shit right now, but it felt real. You feel these even if you can't deny the fact that if you believe in energy, everything has energy. You and me have energy. If you're in a room and you don't vibe with someone, that's their energy you're colliding with. Um, Negative people, you can feel that energy. Good people, you can feel that energy. And with these massive trees that have been alive for like hundreds of years, you can feel that energy. If something's been alive for that long, it's got energy in it. Anyway, I won't go too far
Okay,
down
I've
this
never
happy
tried
route.
that before, but I'm open. I'll give that a try.
Open arms.
How long
You'll
did you
hug anything at
hug the
this
tree
point.
for?
Hug the tree. I don't know. No idea. Just kind of. I had a really interesting time on that retreat, but there was this one guy who I really had a connection with. Reminded me of my father actually. And we went out for this walk, and he goes like, "Have you ever tried tree hugging?" And I was like, "Well, maybe not like seriously." And he was like, "You should try it." So he said he found this big tree and says, "Oh, feel this, feel that. Just do you feel that energy around that? Do you know?" And at the beginning, I was like, "Oh well," and then like after a couple of seconds, I was like, "Hold on, like I'm actually like embracing this right now, and I'm actually like feeling it." A lot of people say, "Oh, it's just placebo," because some guy just told you to do it, and you're just, you're in a place where this energy thing is getting taught. So maybe that's how it is. But after that, after the week away, I went some walks down where my parents stay. Took the dogs with me. Started hugging some trees there, and I was like, "Wow, like this is like there's some truth to this, in my opinion."
Okay,
Yeah, but
that's
I believe
interesting.
in energy. That's what I believe. I believe in energy. So
Yeah, that's so
yeah,
interesting. I'd have to try that. I would have to try that. Maybe not today because it's been raining, but another day I'll head to the
yeah,
park and give it a try.
maybe people might look at you weird, but you just do you, dude.
Who cares? There's been a lot of weirder stuff in London.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
don't
look
think
at
they're
it
going to make
like
any
that
news
guy's just
articles
trying to
about
get
you.
grounded. He's with
There's a
nature.
man in the there's a man in the park hugging a tree. Oh man.
Nice. So do you wanna move on to the films or the play?
Yeah. I think that's all I can fathom from that right now. Why don't we talk about
So
our
I have a
little
question with also with the tree hugging.
okay, okay.
Did you experiment with tree climbing as well?
Everyone's going to fucking bully me
No,
about
it's just
this.
it's interesting because I just think to myself because I'd never heard of it actually like to hug a tree before.
So
What kind of
those so
sensations did you feel when you did it?
so to answer your first question, you talked about tree climbing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when to give you an example, for those of you who don't know, I went to a mainstream school for 2 years and I really didn't enjoy it. I didn't know I didn't enjoy it for the time. I came like quite a shitty person, kind of in the wrong crowds and whatnot. Typical story. And then I moved. My parents moved me to a more different kind of school, Steiner school, and within that school they teach about a more a more different way of learning. Do you know? More of like less of like here's a test, study this material, and more like, what do you think about it in that
Mm.
kind of sense? And we did also a lot of, it was quite a spiritual kind of place. I don't know if that's all Steiner schools, but that's what ours incorporated. And all the kids would climb trees, all the kids would run around barefoot and have like, heels, like, soles like this thick and shit like that, just from running around doing it, hobbit feet kind of kids. So yeah, I didn't do much tree climbing because I didn't start from the kindergarten age, and I was like, oh no, I don't have much confidence. But a lot of my friends would be like, okay, watch me climb this tree in like 3 seconds, all the way up. But yeah, sensations. Do you know? I mean, maybe because I was quite susceptible to it, it was different. We had certain tasks throughout that week. We had certain people would be like, instead of work, we'd call it love and action. So it would be like so it's a community. You'd have to help around the community. Some people would do working in the kitchen. Some people would uh, helping doing cleaning around, and some people would do garden. I
Hmm.
wanted to do garden because
Yeah.
I wanted to feel with
Be with
the
nature. Yeah.
exactly, and you got gloves. And the guy who was working with the guy who reminded me of my father, he was saying, I don't use gloves because I like to feel the dirt and feel how that energy feels. So we were making compost, the eggshells and everything like that, throwing all that in, and then we had to like plant some seeds and stuff like that. And do you know it did feel quite powerful? Do you know, like it just as there was no pressure, there was no anything. Everyone was really grateful just for us to help. They were just like so thankful, and there's not a lot of pressure. And I think that's something I'd like to take away into different work environments, is that kind of essence of you know I am the boss and you work for me, and that's how it should be. No, it was like we were just thankful that everyone was there. We'd even start off with like kind of like uh, tuning in. We'd call it. We'd all stand in a circle and hold hands. It's getting really happy for people. We'll all stand in a circle and hold hands and kind of just bless it. This is going to be a good day of working, and then the crops will grow well, and the rain will come and everything like that. But yeah, it's really interesting and stuff like that. But so maybe because I've been doing stuff like that, I felt more susceptible and more in tune with nature. That when I did the tree hugging, I was like, okay, this feels really magical. This feels like a good moment. I didn't get very
Mm.
emotional. I wasn't like I don't think it was quite like 100% there. Like I wasn't like ready to like reap my soul, spirit, and heart out to this tree. But it felt like a connection, definitely.
That's interesting. That's very interesting because I'd never heard. Yeah, I've never heard about tree hugging at all. So that's very interesting.
But let's be honest, so the London trees are probably negative, just like the people. I
Whoa,
don't mean that. I don't
whoa!
mean that.
We've
I
just
don't
lost
mean.
all our London viewers.
We've lost.
No.
We've lost all London viewers. Viewers dropped to zero. They're at one. They're at zero now.
Yep, our one viewer is pew gone.
Shout out to our one viewer. We love you very much. I know who you are. You know who you are.
But
But
yeah, that's
yeah.
interesting because I only asked about climbing trees because I used to love climbing trees. Even to this day, I still love climbing trees. It's just in London is tricky. Find a good tree to climb, and also it's seen as weird. Like see a grown man climbing a tree. It just makes me feel more. loosens me up and it makes me feel again like kind of childlike again, and just remember what skills I had and what had like my strength and everything, just climbing in general.
This is a really interesting topic because I mean, even take it back to when you were a kid, right? When
Yeah,
you're a kid, you don't have those much worries. You don't have that much like kind of like fucking bills, working, not getting the job, getting the audition, all this kind of shit. It's not in your head. You're just like, I just want to fucking climb a tree. Oh, we're gonna
yeah.
have fun with my friends, and you're just laughing at, you're loving it. You fall out with your friends, and it's all good, right? It's
Hmm.
it's it's all that kind of energy. So I think sometimes you do have to revisit that because a lot
Yeah,
of people are stuck in this kind of like stubborn. We can't have fun. We can't play with work, 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 work. We got to
yeah.
make money. What is this all about, dude? We're fucking actors. We fucking play pretend, which I
It,
mean that's what we're trying to do. Come on, like
it's
that's what we
interesting
got to
because I
do.
think with all that, we only work in all this, people suppress and hold it in, and then to kind of let loose, just get drunk and let it out, let the cap off slightly, and then that's
Mm,
where people act not act out of term exactly, but because there's no real self-expression in normal life, so it feels a bit like you need to get inebriated to really just loosen up and be you and enjoy the moment and everything.
hmm
But
No, that's
yeah,
a
that's
very good.
pardon.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. They use that as a way to like cope in a sense.
Yeah, I find that. Yeah, I do find that kind of stuff interesting. But
No,
just
it's
yeah,
very cool. Very cool. That's a very good point you brought up. Well done. That's a very good point. Uh, yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Well, maybe that's why I've started skating. That's something I've always wanted to do as a kid. I had many
Hmm.
friends who would skate, do tricks, just be so brave with it. I just hate falling. I hate it. I don't like. I've never broken a bone in my body. I hate it.
Neither have I.
We've talked
I'm
about this in the
terrified
first
about
episode.
it.
Yeah, I'm terrified about it. But that's why I wanted to start skating because it's just something that it just feels like I've been missing out on. So I've been starting to do that myself.
Good man. See, I'm thinking
Listen,
about trying to go to the park again and practice my flips and really pick up some new tricks. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm worried about falling and yeah, possibly hurting something. Because if I end up going to the hospital now, during this pandemic, I might come out with corona. So gotta be careful.
yeah,
Now's not the best time to go hospital.
maybe you could also like invest in some like mats because I see
Hmm.
a lot of people who do like I saw some videos of people doing like outdoor bouldering. They'll find the creases in the
Okay,
rocks and
yeah.
stuff, and they'll have some people who have the mats. And say like even if you got someone to like your brother to come with you, for example, they have just for example bouldering. They go up, and if they fall, they'll have someone there just ready to like kind of catch them,
Hmm.
or not even catch them, but push them correctly onto the mat so they don't
Yeah.
fall too far back beyond the mat. So even like
Mm.
stuff like that, you could use that for outdoor surfaces if you want to practice your flips.
That's so interesting. Yeah, that's actually not a bad shout. Get a little mat or something.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's not bad. But also, one thing though, I need to find a place that's quieter in in the little park because nowadays when the sun's out, it's quite busy down there. And unlike
Everyone's a
school,
runner. Everyone runs now. Fucking
yeah,
hell,
now
no.
everyone's running, everyone's just chilling in the park. They don't care. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I like secluded spaces when I practice my flips. Or else people are there like, oh, can you do that again? Whoa! And then you get everyone watching, and I'm like, nah,
Oh
I'm
my
just
god,
practice. Let me do my thing. You
dude,
know,
dude. As soon as I
become
get my
something that you're
skateboard,
not.
as soon as I get my skateboard out, I'm just practicing pushing right now. I don't know how to push properly without looking like a clown right now. But some people that will always come to me, bro, do some tricks, right? Do some tricks. And I'm like, I can't. So oh, it's a longboard, man. Sorry, I can't do anything on it. Sorry, it's a longboard.
Good excuse.
Good excuse, yeah, good excuse. But I really am just terrible. Yeah, yeah. So, shall we move on to the homework that we did
Yes,
for
which one do you want to
this?
dive into first?
Let's talk about the homework. Well, okay, so you didn't necessarily give me homework, but you stated about Queen and Slim, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
and I
yeah.
ended up watching that. I ended up loving it so much more than I thought I would, to be honest with you.
It's
Yeah,
sick, isn't it?
it's
It's
very good.
dope.
It's very
Oh
good.
my days.
Yeah, very good. Daniel Kaluuya, of course.
My
Uh,
G. Big up.
Big up Daniel Kaluuya. But it was really good. I think we've talked about this before, but I think one of the things that I thought, okay, when I was watching it, it kind of just felt like a love story based around the fact of this, racial injustice of the. Also, obviously, spoilers.
Yeah, I was
Don't
about to
don't
say the same thing.
don't have to
Spoilers
point that
alert,
out.
guys.
Yeah, spoilers alert. But the racial injustice of this cop pulling this guy over, who played by Daniel Kaluuya, and this other. I don't even know what was their characters. Was their characters' names Queen and Slim? I don't think it actually mentioned their
No, it
names.
doesn't say their characters' names. I think until right at the end.
Yeah,
Because I remember the whole like film. I was like, what are their names?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was
But
like, okay,
to be fair,
maybe
I
that
did
was
miss
add
the first
mystery.
5 minutes of the of the
Yeah,
film.
maybe they did mention it. They did mention it, but basically, it's these two. To summarize the film, these uh, two individuals met on Tinder. They go out for a meal, and they get pulled over by a cop because they were swerving a little bit. I think like they were joking around in the car or whatever. And the cop pulls them over, and the white cop like asks him to like see his ID and everything like that. And he like says, "Oh, have you been like drinking and stuff?" He goes, "Oh, I don't drink." Because he was like heavily, I think he was like, quite heavily Christian, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, he was quite heavily Christian, so he didn't really have any dirt on him. And he asked him to check the boot, and he's like, "Why?" Because the other girl, the girl who again we don't know her name, she was meant to be. She said that she was a lawyer.
A lawyer, yeah.
Yeah, she was a lawyer, so she knew all the rules too. She was like, "Do you have a warrant for checking his trunk?" He said, "No, it's fine. Check it out." And he was looking through all the it's like threatening in these boxes, the shoe boxes. He goes like shoes. He was looking through them, and he was like really thoroughly looking through everything. There was nothing on him. Then girl comes out, start having a dispute. She gets shot, and then he ends up shoot. Then Daniel Kaluuya ends up shooting the white cop. Then this whole thing starts over, and then they're trying to like escape the country and everything like that. And all these people, everything seems to fall in their lap. Everything, like when it comes to like if they're like in a situation that doesn't seem right, it's always like the African American community who's helping them.
Hmm.
It always seems to work, but it felt like when they're getting through everything quite easily, it just felt like it was a story based around these two rather than a story of racial injustice. And I was kind of like, oh well. But then at the end, they die, and they become this kind of figure in the community for African Americans of people who have been shot due to racial injustice. And I really like that fact because it totally flipped on its head to where it was going. And I think
Hmm.
that's
They
what the true.
also kind of are like the viewed as like revolutionary, even on the way through Black Bonnie and Clyde, as they say.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
start the whole movement as well. Like everyone's protesting for them
Mm,
all the way through. You can see it all being in the news and how the black community are kind of supporting them. But then at the end, oh man, that hurt. The end. Everyone knows spoilers alert. So yeah, at the end
we're at
where
this point.
yeah,
Can't avoid or end it.
fuck it. So that the guy who turns him in, the black dude that turns him in, who lives in a caravan.
Yeah, yeah. You
That
you only know it's that because he's counting the money at the end. Yeah.
yeah. I remember I trusted the dude. I was like, yeah, man, he's gonna take them all out and they're gonna get away from here. And took him straight to the police. That was painful, but it does show like I guess it shows different sides of the community, the sides that are trying to lift us up, and the sides that are not guys fighting for themselves,
Mm,
just want as much money as possible. So yeah, it kind of yeah, it was very very interesting. I thought, but man,
yeah.
that part right at the end after they've been shot, and the credits, well, they're showing the funeral and the credits are going by at the end. Me and my parents were just silent, like, whoa, can't believe we just like witnessed that. It was so raw. Like it was when the moment it came was unexpected. I expected them to get shot, but the moment it came was unexpected because they were
Mm,
talking there, and it was in the middle of such a beautiful moment. She looks at him like, "Can I be your legacy?" And he looks back at her and is like, "You already are." Bang! She's shot. Whoa! My chest, everything. I was lost for words
yeah.
when that happened. And he
Absolutely.
picks her up, and he gets shot as well. And it was just all like they were unarmed, just standing there. And there was a whole line of police, and it just because it does happen so much, especially in America, where that kind of stuff happens. Like there was all of you, like 10 of them, or about more than 10, even a helicopter actually, and they're just two people, and you still shot them unarmed. Mad.
Yeah.
Just blows me away, kind of.
But of course, it's also important to mention, they were like obviously
But they were
ordered,
fugitives, yeah.
and not even that, they were ordered to like put their hands up and lie down on the ground, but they just stood there holding hands. So, but even then, it was just one woman who shot, and then the guy was like, "What the fuck are you doing? I didn't say
Yeah, see,
shot." Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it still wasn't reason enough to shoot. Was one thing I
No,
think
absolutely,
Lena
absolutely,
was
because they
trying to
weren't.
make the point of as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, I think she did it by accident, because that does also happen quite a bit. You see a lot of these shootings. I've come across quite a few online,
I
like not
was
even
going to
from
say,
like
excuse me.
search.
I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, South London's rough as hell.
Oh yeah, bro. Tell me about it.
But
Jesus.
yeah, come like without even looking, they just come up on like different feeds of social media, and yeah, so sometimes the rogue cop just, and then that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes people stay really powerful in those situations, and it is, it obviously brings to light everything we're talking about, and I feel like stories like these shouldn't be stopped being told until the issue gets solved.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's really important. It's really beautiful. It's a really beautiful story. I did also like how they did this really interesting thing in terms of editing. They did this really interesting thing where they had when they're getting their car fixed by that one dude, and then the kid Junior comes along and he goes for a walk with let's just call them what they are, Queen and Slim, right? Goes for a walk with Queen and Slim, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are doing something for the movement. There's a protest tomorrow. You guys should come check it out. It's for you guys." He's like, "Oh, that's cool, kid. Thanks. I hope it goes well." And it's kind of like this moment where Queen and Slim are in their car and they're having sex, and the kid is at the protest, and there's this like line of like cops like trying to hold everyone back, and it's just this moment where this kid ends up shooting one of the cops, and when he pulls the trigger and he kills someone, they end up like climaxing, and I thought that was almost quite like beautiful in that sense. It was quite beautiful how that
Hmm.
kind of went together. And you made a really great point when we were talking about this before. It's like life and death.
Hmm.
Kills the
Creating
person.
life, taking a life, death.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
quite
Yeah.
interesting. I thought that was right, because they had it like side by side. It was chopping and changing between the two, and it was
Good
both
montage.
building up, building until bah, and then climax as well. I'm not gonna make
Yeah,
not get.
yeah. We all know what it is.
I just realized it's recording, so maybe not.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no, I thought
Good.
that scene
So
was
thanks for that. Good
particularly
shout.
interesting.
Yeah.
Good shout of film. Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm keeping an eye out for more. I can recommend to you, man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right.
that one has been my highlight of the year so far.
Yeah.
I think that was just a
I'll,
great film.
I'll keep an eye out for the other film you were telling me about, Guava Island, because I didn't
Oh
end up watching.
yeah, Guava
Yeah.
Island. Yeah, that one's decent as well. I won't put it in the same kind of category as Queen and Slim, but I think that one was quite nice too. It was Charles
Well,
Gambino, which
yeah.
I look so much like him.
Let's
I
talk
thought,
about that. Let's talk about that really quickly, the Childish Gambino thing. But I think it's a really interesting subject to get on for people's kind of like X factor in their sense, like what makes them them. So, just want to touch on that a little bit for yourself.
okay, go for it. So
No,
I'm
yeah, I meant for you. I meant for you. If you want to do it, I think you can do yourself more justice in that.
talk about what exactly? Sorry.
So, for instance, you said to me that you've said so many times that people think that they think that you look like the British version of Childish Gambino, and you're
Hmm.
like, oh, whatever. But then once you actually saw that film, you're like, holy shit, I am him.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because gosh, like I've kept up with Donald Glover for years now, since about when his song Heartbeat came out as Childish Gambino, which I think was like 2013, 2014. I think it's before I left Canterbury. And I've been following him for, yeah, in fact, no, maybe 2012, a long time anyway. But yeah, he's been doing good things. And I've just watched Community as well on TV, and I've never seen like the resemblance between us two. I thought it was just the hair and maybe the goatee. And Atlanta, brilliant show, brilliant show. Have you watched it before? Atlanta's fucking
Mhm.
amazing. But then yeah, Guava Island, it was on and I was watching it and there was a certain song that he was singing where he was making all these big exaggerated faces and all those kind of things. And then boom, he did like a face and I was like, whoa, that's me. You know?
It like morphed, yeah.
Yeah, just like boom. Like I've seen myself do that face in the mirror and I look exactly like that. And then from there, I couldn't stop seeing it. I was like, this is me on TV. What the hell's going on? Like singing to Rihanna as well, which, be a dream come true, not gonna lie. But it was all just so weird, because he is like, in that moment, he was my doppelganger. I couldn't believe it.
That's what it
But
is. Donald Glover looks like Andrew Gachigi. That's what it is. It's
yeah,
all the way
he's paved the
around.
way for me now. Hey.
Yeah,
I can play his little brother in Atlanta, or some
that's it, man.
next
That's
film or
it.
something.
But I
God.
think I think that's important though. Do like you can hit it from that angle. But as I said, it's also important to see what you could. As I said, we've already had this conversation. What you're bringing to the table because obviously you have, you know, you're very multi-talented and you have a lot to bring to the table. So I
Very
just want you to
much.
remember that. I want you to remember that before the way we've got our Donald Glover, and obviously that's the side you want to hit it from, and I think that's awesome. But just don't forget who Andrew Gachigi is,
Oh yeah. See,
because
Donald
those
Glover,
will
that's
try and
that's the
change
way
you.
in the door.
Yeah,
And then from there, Andrew Gucci gonna blossom. But I tell you,
exactly.
what a person to look like though, because Donald Glover, he's an amazing human being. I think from
Hmm.
his music, I've listened to his music for years. I love his song Redbone and This Is America. That like 2 years ago, that was just groundbreaking.
Is that 2 years ago? Fuck me,
Yeah,
Jesus.
or a year ago. No, I think it was 2 years ago. But
Oh
yeah, that
wow.
was groundbreaking. And then also like Atlanta as well. Oh man, it's so amazing.
He just hits
And
out of the park every time, doesn't he?
yeah,
Yeah,
and like all the actors on there, everything's just beautiful on there.
it is.
He does like he is a really gifted human being a really gifted and creative human being. So I really appreciate him and all
Yeah.
his work.
Well, I appreciate you. Just want to say that.
Hey, I
I
appreciate you
appreciate you.
too, brother. Thank you very much.
The reason I wanted to bring that up is because I wanted to go on to our next subject because one of the difficulties of one of the tasks that I gave you was to look up an art house film. And one of those films was Neon Demon. And we didn't end up doing that because I didn't think you'd particularly like it. So we tried a couple of other films. We tried Enemy. We tried
Lobster.
The Lobster. All these services. I mean, because you have Amazon Prime, but you had still to pay for it. So we said we'd try and figure out a few other things. But then in the process, we found out that you've already seen a couple of art house films, actually.
Hmm.
One being
Sorry to bother you.
Sorry to bother you.
There
Thank
you
you.
are.
Sorry to
With
bother
Lakeith
you.
Stanfield, another guy
Yeah.
who's
Oh my
just
God.
Lakeith,
Also,
man.
also,
Woo.
also in Atlanta. Also in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
also in
Yeah.
Atlanta and Get Out as well. This
Oh
man
yeah, yeah, yeah,
has
yeah, yeah. Of course.
range, and he's very special. I think he's also very special. Look
He
at all
is
that
a
he
very
does.
beautiful human being.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love the way that he is just very eccentric. But
Yeah, eccentric
why,
and
why,
raw. It's just nice.
why don't you tell
Talent.
us a little bit about your experience with the art house film, what you experienced? Because you saw that, and I also told you to check out a couple other films. The only film we could see that was available was Cam. So why don't you just explore like the nuances of what art house is for you, what you experienced from it?
See, when Sorry to Bother You, I can definitely see that one was art house because that one they explored. Yeah, like it was. Yeah, it wasn't your average film. It was very different, very creative, different thing. Like even when the point where Cassius Clay, which I wonder if it's if they made it close to Cassius Clay, like Muhammad Ali, for a reason. Cassius Clay, Cassius Clay, very close. So I wonder what the link there must be, because you wouldn't choose that by accident. But yeah, where was I? Yeah, sorry to bother you. Like even when he's on the phone, how he gets teleported to different rooms, everything, the whole kind of even the voice is very very art house, very very creative. But well, I'm not even sure what the words are. What am I even reaching for here?
Yeah, they uses certain sounds and like visuals to emphasize the what they're trying to say about the film and what
Yeah.
they're trying to project. Obviously, it was like different things about like um what you call it,
Code switching.
code
Yeah.
switching, and race and what's the other word?
Don't worry, man.
Um,
I haven't got my words today either.
yeah, don't worry. I'm searching for it. Don't you worry. Classes, different classes. It was
Mm.
very much about that. Um, and then so you didn't. So you're saying you didn't really experience the kind of like art house in the film Cam. Did you happen to actually finish? Did you finish the film?
Yeah, I watched it all the way through, and yeah, I didn't. It didn't feel as art house as like as sorry to bother you if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, because that
Do you know?
one. Sorry, what you
So
say?
so sorry. So let's talk about the Cam thing. So you know at the end when she's like kind of like has a live stream with herself,
Mm-hmm.
the game of like chicken. So what
Yeah.
did you take from that? Like, were you quite confused at that, or did that like kind of like what made sense to you in that, or
Yeah,
did
all
that
right,
quite
cool.
confuse you?
That bit did confuse me a bit as well because I really wanted to find out how this clone was running, like how it was, because maybe through deep fake, maybe
Yeah,
because the way it kept updating itself as well every time when she started bleeding and everything, so you could tell it wasn't real. But I was wondering whether it's an actual person there or it's just completely digital or
See when it comes. Sorry, so sorry to interrupt you.
no, they're
Uh,
down.
every time I watch like kind of these films, I'm not the smartest of individuals, so sometimes I'll just watch like a YouTube explain kind of version of it, like especially if it's something like Sorry to Bother You, where I'm not very political in that sense, so I had to explain the nuances of what they were actually trying to get towards.
Yeah.
Um, with certain films like that, like Cam, I was like, okay, I can kind of understand what they're trying to do here, but I feel like there's something missing here.
Yeah.
And there was actually, like in the sense of what they're trying to explain, a lot of the symbolisms and what they tried to convey didn't actually have roots to them. It just became
Okay.
some sort of like weird thing to deal with. Um, and I probably confused you in that sense by giving you that film, but again, it was the only film I could think of at the time. But I feel it is a good example for me, at least, when it uses certain things like that, like the clone figure. It does give you a good example of like, okay, this is how far art house can kind of go, and like even like that. I mean, to throw off other examples like Donnie Darko, even Jake Gyllenhaal in a later interview says, "I have no idea what the film's about." so
What?
so He's like, I don't know what it's about. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know what it's about, but I
That's so
enjoyed it.
interesting. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You
But
know, that's actually a really hard thing to admit as an actor, come to think of it. It's a really hard thing to admit. If
I
you're on a
think when they
show
were young, yeah, because Seth Rogen was in it as well. He played the bully as well, and then him and Seth just had a conversation like, "We really don't know what this is about." He's like, yeah, me neither, bro.
and
But it's interesting, though. It's interesting because I think one of the issues with you trying to find that film is a good idea that most people, when they try and come into the industry, they do a lot of weird things. Like they do a lot of art house just to get themselves a bit more recognized because it is a certain genre that typically applies to people who do independent films. So maybe that's why you couldn't find it on these bigger platforms like Netflix and Amazon without paying for it.
yeah, maybe. You know what? And also, I'm not gonna lie, the writing in art house is really quite nice as well. I mean, I enjoy the writing in art house films. Well, the art house films that I've watched. I think
What
the
do you
right.
mean? What do you mean exactly? Sorry.
I
Do you want
mean,
to
I think
delve a bit deeper on
yeah.
that, if you don't mind?
Just in general, because I don't know, like with certain films, certain like big budget films, I just find it harder to connect with the writing as such. I find it just sometimes feels a bit distant from the way that we speak sometimes.
Mm.
Like, in fact, you know what? There was a show that I watched. I caught like an episode of a show called Looking. It's on Sky, and I tell you, the dialogue in that was unbelievable. It seemed improvised, but just so crisp and so nice. Like I actually I really want to find out how it was done actually as well,
Mm.
because where writing is just that beautiful, where it just pops like even the way they were acting with each other, interrupting, jumping in little bits, just bits that you think weren't written down, just little improv parts. I'm not too sure. But like, I was talking about art house here. I'm going on a complete different
No, it's
tangent.
good. No, no, I was liking that
Yeah.
actually. It was quite. You're flowing with that.
Like when writing's just smooth and so fluid and just that kind of, I love it. And I feel, yeah, some big budget films, I feel it's lacking something, lacking
Does it
something. But
almost become like a little bit too cliche in what their subject matters are?
yeah,
Is that kind of what
yeah, a little bit, comes a bit too cliche, and I was like,
predictable?
certain scenes I'm a bit like, man, it's missing something, and predictable as well. Like I watched a film with my brother recently, and I was a bad film watcher. I'm not even gonna lie. I was watching like, okay, so that person's gonna die, somewhere he's gonna die. That person's gonna come so close to dying, it's unreal. You watch, but they will survive. This is about to happen next, and I was predicting it all correctly because it was just so damn predictable. It
Mm,
was mad.
this is a horror film.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like they're so predictable. Like sometimes they're even just for the fun when it comes to horror films. I find it really hard actually to find a horror film that kind of like really hooks me.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, the only films that I found that I really enjoy that are horror films are art house films. And I know that's so weird. Like, did you ever hear of the film Midsommar? Midsommar.
No.
So it's like a kind of festival where these friends go to Sweden, and then it ends up being like a weird like cult ritual thing.
Is it on Netflix?
No, it was in the cinema not too long ago. I'd say about a year ago. But
I feel like I came across it. Or
but the
maybe.
person,
Yeah.
but the person who did that, they did a film before that called Hereditary, and I think it was voted like the scariest film in 2018, 19,
Nice.
something like that. It was very art house in the sense that it was made. I know I sound really pompous every time I say that, but it did come off as that, and that's why I really enjoyed it. And the subject matter was that you are again trying to figure it out as it goes along, and it was really like I
I
don't
like
like.
that. See, I like that
Yeah,
keeps you guessing.
it did keep me guessing. So I think if I was to suggest a horror film that maybe you wouldn't be like, he's going to die, they're going to die, they're going to die, that'll probably do you. To be honest, like you might, I think that'll be a good one for you because that is also voted a really good film as well, and I'm
This
pretty sure you
weekend,
should be
me and
able
my
to
brother are
find
gonna
that.
watch that because we like to watch horror films together.
Yeah, that's a
So,
good film. That's my doorbell. Someone will get
nice.
that.
You know what? I may even run to the bathroom quick. I'm kind of dying here.
Right, so we're back after some technical difficulties.
That's what happens when you work remotely. But hey, we
Hey,
adapt. We
we
adapt.
adapt.
As
And
the
now we're
world
going.
and our industries are adapting, we adapt too.
We adapt. That's what we are. That's what we are, peacocks. Anyway, we'll move on to our review of Red Velvet by, I'm going to try the name, Lolita Chakrabarti. Sorry if I butchered that. Gave it a good attempt. But yeah, and with your boy, Adrian Lester, on the front cover, who
My G,
is,
another great performer.
yes, who, at least at this point, is married to Lolita.
Yeah, the
Uh,
playwright.
yeah, the playwright. So yeah, this book, shall I try and
Do you know what? I think it would be a great. I would have loved to have seen this on stage.
no, absolutely. Do you know absolutely? I think this book is phenomenal. Like, I'd love to direct it, to direct a performance of it. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember you saying.
yeah. I think it looks
Yeah.
like a great book. But yeah,
But it's very interesting because I've never heard about Ira Alderman at all. No, is it? It's not Alderman. Sorry, it's Ira
Ald,
Aldridge.
Aldebridge,
Aldridge. Yeah, Aldridge.
Aldridge. We're
Yeah.
we're half and half. We got we met no doubt. Yeah, but the first scene starts off in like Poland, 1867,
Mhm.
and it's Ira when he's a bit old. Ira when
About
he's a bit
60.
older. He's a
Yeah,
bit
60 or
he's
so.
about 60, and so he's like if not the first, one of the first uh, Africans to play Othello in this like period of the play, in this like the period that is set. And sorry, can you still hear that?
Nah.
Good, because I can really hear it. But it's like one of the periods where he's set as one of the first black males to play Othello, and it's quite interesting. In the first scene, he's obviously a bit older, but everyone around him really respects him in that
He
sense.
has a
Like
lot
they're
of command, which is so interesting.
yeah, yeah,
And I
it's
was just there
so
like a black
interesting.
man in what date was it again? 18.
Yeah, I'll get the date up for you right now so we can
Yeah.
fact check that. 1867. So this is like when he's
1867, because I know he
60.
has the one in 1833, but 1867, and black man talking with so much command, and like with everyone like,
Yeah,
oh, it's actually yeah, quite amazing to read. I thought in that
yeah.
time.
And then you have like I think I'm just gonna go through the book. Yeah, so it's basically about this person called Helena who's Polish and she's trying to interview him for her own reasons, but they have like quite interesting ways of like how she uses language and stuff like that. Like I thought maybe they wouldn't use like they'd switch from German to English, and I thought maybe they'd just keep it in English. But no, actually, they need someone who uses English to do that. They need someone who actually speaks German to perform that
Yeah,
because there's contradictions within the words, you know, because sometimes when they do plays, they'll just keep it in one language. Uh, but no, it's quite interesting actually. Quite interesting. And then it moves on to different scenes where Ira is a bit younger, as you said. I think you said
he's
1830s,
1833, I believe. Well, he's
1833.
26. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's such an interesting character
Check,
where
double
he
check.
goes he goes into the play and there's a lot of like uproar outside because I think a new laws are changing, and that is to do with slaves. I believe it doesn't necessarily say what law it is, but
Hmm.
it kind of hints
There's a
towards
big
that.
protest. Yeah.
Yeah, big protest outside the theater, um, and he comes in as the new person who's going to take over playing Othello in the play when it was meant to be uh, one of the performer's fathers, who's quite in high
Yeah.
regard. So there's a lot of like uncomfortableness around that, and all that as well as the fact that he is black. It's like okay, well, no one
It's
actually told us
interesting
that.
how no one really knew
Yeah,
as well before, and then he came on stage, or he comes into the room, and everyone's like, "Whoa, he's black."
yeah.
That.
I was like when he said, "Oh yeah, he outperformed the rest of the slaves." I was like, "Oh well, there you go then." Like everyone knows, but everyone was still like, "Whoa, okay."
But then again, in that day, a lot of white performers played black roles by blacking up, or in fact, I think this was around, or maybe before, no, around the time of minstrels, I think, or
No,
maybe
absolutely,
slightly
absolutely,
before.
yeah,
So yeah, like
yeah,
yeah, it was quite a shock to see black people on stage usually, and
hmm
and as a title role like Othello, unheard of.
yeah, yeah, and even and the way that he comes into the scene, and he has to kind of he's saying, "Oh, we should just run the scenes," and he's working with Ellen, who's playing Desdemona,
Hmm.
and he's trying to give some advice to her back and forth, and I'm just like, oh, I just he still has that. Like obviously when he's 60, he has that very high command, but he's still like trying to be nice. He's like, okay, maybe we should like try it from this angle. We should try it from that angle. And then the person's father, who the person's so Charles is the person's father, who his father was playing Othello. Then scene, and they
Oh,
start doing the
Sola, we lost
scene.
you there.
Oh, you're like a
You.
radio presenter every
So
time you
I
do
keep
that.
doing
Like
every time we lose you. I'm always there like what? Um, but yeah,
basically,
you
yeah,
were saying about Charles.
Charles comes in the scene and he says, well, I think one of my favorite lines was he says to Charles, "Oh, we should try it from like a different angle." And he goes, "Oh no, but we've been doing it this way forever, and it seems to work." And he goes like, "I think he said this is going to be a catastrophe when you come onto the stage." And he goes, "Only with that type of acting, it will be." So Ira hits him
Yeah,
back with
that part, that back and forth was actually brilliant.
that was
It really
great.
was. It was such a
Yeah,
that was honestly, if I can find it, because the way it's done, I thought was really nice. Because Ira, he's really like he's properly standing up for himself in 1833 as a black man in England who born in America. I just find so interesting. It's yeah, it's just the kind of like I haven't seen anything like that. I haven't read anything like that before.
no,
Or
absolutely.
any plays like that. So it was interesting. And even the son of the person that was playing Othello is giving him some pushback. And was his father was the person that played Othello? Did he have some sort of stake in the theater as well?
Yeah, yeah, I believe so.
I can't remember now, but
Believe so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So even though he came in butting heads of people, but he knows what he wants. He's very direct. and it's just a beautiful read, and he don't take shit. He doesn't take shit.
No, it's really impressive, and I think what he almost I feel what's really interesting about Ira is I almost feel like he uses acting as a way to deal with these issues in
Hmm.
that sense. I don't know if I'm right in saying that, but when he comes up on the stage, he is Pierre, who's the manager and also a close friend to Ira, says to him, "You have to tone it down a bit. You have to take it back
The
because the
audience aren't
people won't.
ready.
Yeah, the audience aren't ready for Black Man to be up there roaring and screaming and being the powerful person that Othello is." And he goes, "Well, that's part of the play. I can't change that," which is, you know, a really interesting topic. Like, should he resist himself for the greater good of the theater or the greater good of the cast? The cast can't technically keep up or whatever in that sense.
Hmm.
Um, but Ellen was a really interesting character too, of the sense of how she, like, almost like he was being so rough and like in the scene that like, oh, like she's bruised up and everything, which I particularly don't feel like she may have been. I maybe feel like she like. I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like that was maybe like up to interpretation if she was actually like thrown around and beaten.
I don't think she was, not at all. I think it was. I think it was just the way it should be done, acted well, but because everyone's seeing a black person doing that to now a white person in that day and age in particular, black people were almost synonymous with animals. They're pretty much animals that can speak, you know.
Yeah,
So them seeing yeah, like an aggressive black man holding a woman like that, even though it's acting, and he I think he did catch her a little bit or something. But that happens to me on the stage all the time, and
yeah,
it
yeah,
happens
yeah.
to
But
me all
it's
the
a bigger
time.
deal since he's black.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're making it a bigger deal. Like he's losing control. He's out. Yeah, he lost control. He's enraged, and they said some sort of stuff in there. I remember that really got me a bit heated. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, whoa, you motherfuckers, these words. But
yeah. But he took those punches really well, though. He knew
really
who it
well.
was.
But he
Yeah,
took so much backlash in it. I really felt for the character, the role, the because he took a lot of shit, and he's really just really trying to get his way into the industry. Really trying to be like take on juicy roles. That's all he wants. Take on juicy roles and really do them to the best of his ability. But everyone's trying to keep this kind of ceiling on him, keep his glass ceiling, even
yeah,
keep him in his place, if you will. So that's why ends up it's a catastrophe. It just goes wrong. I feel so bad for the guy.
yeah. And I mean, it's it's interesting. Like the whole idea that he's even when he gets older, you can see that he's taking the roles or he's playing Othello in different places that he doesn't particularly want to. Even when Helena brings up, "Do you miss London?" He's like, "No, no, I don't." But then he asks his assistant, "Do you miss London?" He says, "Oh, I miss it every day." And he's
Mm,
like, "Yeah, me too." And it's you can tell that even though it was a challenge for him, he loved being on that stage.
yeah,
Yeah, and he felt like that's where he was meant to be. But now he just tours around wherever in the world, Poland or
Europe. Yeah,
yeah, Europe or whatnot. Yeah,
it
it's
was
really
very
interesting.
interesting. I
Yeah,
really liked the way because took the pretty much took the whole play to really zoom in on this one part of his life. This well, in fact, the time frame of the meat of the play, if you will. I think because the first and the last scene are when he's 60. So everything else is in the time frame of like what, 2 days, a day, 2 days, 2 days. Because
yeah,
he
yeah, yeah,
arrives,
yeah,
he
yeah.
performs that night, and then the next day when all the reviews came out and they butcher it, but they slaughter the dude, then he doesn't go on again. The theater goes dark on that second day.
But what I find really interesting is Pierre knew T because he said all these papers are meant to be outside my room. No one's allowed to read it, and he did it for the protection of Ira because I think he knows more than anyone else that that is what's going to break him. That's what's going to
Hmm.
break him. And all those reviews did for the rest of the cast was just held up that ideology that he isn't good enough to be on the stage with
Oh
us.
yeah, for like the racist cast members in particular, or the stuck in their ways cast members in particular, yeah, reaffirmed that belief
Yeah,
of yeah, you shouldn't be on here.
absolutely.
A
But I
black
found it.
man playing Othello, how dare we?
How dare he? How dare
Yeah,
he? It's
you know what I
ridiculous.
mean?
But what I found really interesting as well, just bringing it back to Ellen, is the idea that she was kind of like, "Oh no, I'm fine. Do you know, I'm absolutely fine." And I think what really there was a certain conversation between Ellen and Charles when they're having a little debate about like how women shouldn't be on stage or something like that. It was like a
Yeah.
little, yeah, it was a little sentiment of that. And she was like, "What do you mean women shouldn't be on stage?" And she said, "Oh, it's whatever. Let's not get into politics." And I think that's maybe why she has some. She enjoys the company of Ira, and she got relatively uh, like she opened up a little bit in that sense. And I think once, even when they spent the evening after the play, just hanging out, having some drinks, they said, "Oh, you slept with that woman or whatever," and all that. Some of the
Yeah.
accusations came up, and you're like, can't even make friends anymore. Can't even make
And
friends either. Yeah.
it's
So it
peak.
was really hard.
It was. Oh, 100%. But it's yeah, that's interesting you bring that up about Ellen as well, because they both kind of felt that being excluded. They've, yeah, both been excluded in
Yes.
their lives and just built up a thick
Yeah.
skin and kind of like fight for it. So yeah, that's very interesting. And what did you say at the end again? Sorry, yeah, just a little bit there.
The bit about the accusations.
A bit
The
about the accusations.
so I think Pierre kind of mentioned a little bit like,
Ah, I'm with it. I'm with it. Sorry.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, just simply something as harmless as well, them two just having a little having a drink at the end of the show, just cast members connecting and also cast members just trying to tighten the play up a little bit more, because he came in that day and performed that night after the night before someone the person playing Othello passed out. So he's completely justified. He's just tightening up a few bits here and there, work on a few scenes, but yeah, it's just the fact that someone saw her coming out of his dressing room, immediately their mind goes to the gutter. It's interesting that.
yeah. But I think we can, from in my mind, I can completely rule that out as a fact that he would even do that, because the the scene, the same scene, his wife is in the changing room with him, and you
Yeah.
can really see that they really do love each other, and there's a lot of care and trust in
Hmm.
that relationship, that he really isn't able to come out and come honest about how he truly feels, but only when his wife is there. Who is a white woman, and I feel to him, even she would just be completely over the top and ridiculous at that point. He's just a man trying to perform well and love this craft, but he feels like everyone's trying to bring him down. But people like Pierre are actually trying to help him.
Hmm. It's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I guess everyone, usually the world's against him, so finding people that are nice, I guess, is quite few and far between.
Mm,
So yeah, I guess he would have, yeah, built up some sort of thick skin and also just a mistrust for everyone. And then with Pierre at the end having to fire him, I feel like that was the one person he did really trust, and that stabbed him deep in the back.
yeah,
I really felt for the dude. But it
yeah.
was a brilliant, like, I still can't believe I've never heard of Ira Alderman. And that's so
I,
interesting, 'cause I'm looking forward to diving into him as a person, because it's based on a real person.
I did not
Who
know
is
that. So there we go. I did not know that. So it doesn't
yeah, so
mention it.
in the introduction and everything it does.
Okay, well, I didn't read that. Remember, I just said I jumped into the play. So
Yeah, yeah, I went through the whole introduction, just the finding at the beginning, finding Ira Alderman, that bit there.
oh, so did
Yeah,
I actually don't have that?
you don't have that in your book.
Yeah, we I don't know what it is. We got the same book, but we don't have the same bits here.
Yeah, I think yours is slightly before mine or something.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
But yeah, no, I would have liked to have seen this. This one is a great play, and I'm really looking forward to looking into Lolita's work.
Yeah, no,
Looking forward to it.
she's a really good writer, and I think one thing that we also is important to bring up that we saw was the language used isn't what I would replicate as something that would be used in that time, and it's more
Hmm.
modern, and that's a for me personally, it's much easier to read,
Yeah,
and
I
I
really like
feel
that.
like
Made it a bit of a bonus, so I can
yeah,
read through it a lot easier.
yeah, it probably made it a bit clearer as well for the audience as well who'd be watching it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was no need to be there. Like, hold on, let me Google what that word means. Or this is
exactly.
old timey
Hmm.
language. What's going on? But yeah, no, it was very the language was very modern. So I it made it so much easier, so much smoother to just read through and really get a sense of what's going on. So I really did appreciate that as well.
Very smooth, very smooth. And one other person that I quite enjoyed, I think her name was Connie. That was the
Yeah,
main.
Connie, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
when
she had some interesting views as well, actually.
she
Gosh, there
did,
was a one little monologue there.
yeah, when she's having a conversation with Ira. But at the beginning, if you search through on scene two, I don't think it actually gives her an introduction, so you don't actually get to know. It just says that she's in the room. Yeah, Connie.
A Jamaican
Connie.
woman is a crisp uniform. Connie enters with a tea, yeah, tea
Yeah,
tray.
yeah, it does. It doesn't say her. It doesn't say her age or whatnot, so it doesn't really give her much of a. So of course, yeah, it's not like it doesn't even say her age, but at the same
At
time,
the
it says
front in
like
the
that doesn't
characters section,
matter.
it says 30s.
Dude, oh my god, where else is it? Was all this information? Oh yeah, it does.
But yeah, no, for each character, just below it has,
Oh yeah, it does.
Betty 20s white, Harry 20s, Bernard 50s
Connie,
white.
Connie's in her 30s, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
but she's really interesting. Yeah, I feel like she's also quite similar to Pierre in that sense, where she's read the review and she doesn't want him to see it because she knows it's going to affect his performance. And she says, "Oh,
mhm.
nothing's good is going to come from reading that."
Yeah, actually that bit, that little scene where they're talking, actually, the whole about the newspaper. Can I have the newspaper? Can you leave them here for me? No, I've been told to take them back. I found that bit very interesting because I thought, yeah, one part of me was there like maybe she's read it and doesn't want him to see, but also I thought like if she doesn't obey orders, that's her job. I'd imagine, that's her job done.
Mm,
So if she leaves the newspapers with him after expressly being told, take them back to my room now. I wonder as well, like being 1833, that could be her life too, I guess.
yeah,
So that just little minor act of disobedience, I guess. Well, not even disobedience, just yeah, just trying to leave the newspapers for Ira, who's requested that. Yeah, it could be your job or your life as well. So I think that was that bit of stakes was there for her. Like if I disobey, I could easily be thrown out into the streets and
yeah, yeah, no,
into the protest and beaten to death. No, wait, the protest wasn't happening that day. The protest was the day before.
yeah.
I bet.
But they could have. But did it say it was continuing or it stopped? I mean, it could have been kept going.
Yeah, it could have kept going. Actually, depends on your interpretation because it didn't say it stopped. Not that I know
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, that's an interesting point that I kind of like passed by actually. I didn't think of. Like, yeah, I mean, because Ira saw it in the end, right? He saw it, so
Hmm.
like Pierre could have thought whatever. He could have thought like, oh, they're in cahoots. They're just because they're helping each other out.
Mm.
So anything could happen with that situation.
But all in all, really good play.
Absolutely,
Really good
absolutely.
introduction to her work.
Very good introduction to your work. Definitely, and I'm glad we actually read it after
Yeah,
God knows how many months.
gosh, months and months. I still have. I used, Wives, because I have. This is what the show that we watched, Wives.
Can I just say, by the way, we happen to be involved, not or like read or watch a lot of plays that happen to be backstage about an actual other play.
Yeah, that's a fair point. This one was as well. That's so interesting.
Yeah, A Doll's House or the adaptations of that, and Othello,
Yeah.
and then the backstage of that.
Actually really because I like shows that show the side of the actor as well. As an actor, is one thing is they're like, yeah, this is dope, especially when they get little inside actor things that most people don't know.
Yeah,
So I love seeing that stuff. So when we saw that in Wife, I was like, yeah, wife,
mm,
singular, wife. I thought
life.
it's sick. But yeah, that was about because it ended 6th of July, so that's what 9 months ago, 10 months ago. When we watched the
A
play.
long ass
Yeah.
time.
I'm using it as my bookmark as well, just to remember,
Yeah, just remember we have to get around to that.
because it's a good play.
But yeah, bro, we should do this again sometime. Any other plays or things that we should check out. So again, uh, Just anything else you want to cover before we do an outro?
Do you know what? I actually don't think there is anything else to cover for me. Nah, I ain't got nothing else burning to say. How about
Yeah.
you?
No, nothing else really. I'd just say that was a really interesting look on Othello and how it would be for a black person at that time coming in for the first time ever and performing that and how it would be. Because I never really thought about the ideology of them having to almost have to dial it back a little bit because them coming off almost like being seen as an animal to the rest of
Hmm.
the audience.
Yeah, those were little things I'd never thought about myself either. So
Yeah.
it does open your eyes. Like you could tell she's done her research and done a lot of like, yeah, just little bits of yeah, little nuanced parts that you wouldn't really think about at all.
Yes.
I thought it was yeah, really clever. She's done a lot of work on this. I think that's amazing.
Sure, sure. Well, with that being said, folks, if
In
there's
fact, there
any
is one thing
oh,
before we go.
oh
I just
shit.
remember because I remembered researching this ages ago, but I'm just searching up now so I can get the correct date. So did you know when the first Othello at the National time, the first Othello at the National Theatre was played by a black person? Was the year that was phrased awfully.
No, I got it. The
Does that
first
make
time.
sense?
Yeah, it made sense. Yeah,
Let
made
me see if
sense.
I can get the year up. So the first year there was
At
a
the
black
national.
person playing Othello at the National Theatre was I know which actor it is. I'm just searching through his things, but it's aha gosh was 1997.
Oh, I remember you telling me, and I was like, "Fucking what?" Like so
1997.
late.
That's less than
That's
23 years ago.
that's the day. That's like the year I was born.
It's within our lifetime. It's crazy. That's the first time a black actor played Othello at the National Theatre, and that was David Harewood. Before there's videos of Laurence Olivier playing Othello, he blacked up. There's Anthony Hopkins playing Othello, he blacked up. I know there was Patrick Stewart played Othello, but Patrick Stewart, man, I actually respect Patrick Stewart for this. So he was offered Othello, but he was like, "Nah, fuck it, let's flip it, right? So everyone else is black and I'm white Othello, so we reversed it, kind of thing." So I was like, "Yo, quite deep."
That's one way of like saying I'm not blacking up. I'm
Yeah,
like, he's
I
like,
mean,
I'm not fucking
he
blacking
sees
up.
the kind of yeah, he sees it's wrong. It just it's not truthful to anything. The story really.
No, no, yeah.
So yeah, that's just one thing I wanted to add quickly because
No, that's a
still
good
blows me
insight.
away.
That's some good insight, though.
Still blows 1997.
We could talk about Othello all day, brother. I mean, I did like a dissertation. I wouldn't say dissertation. I did a big essay on it, a big think piece on it for school. I did the what's that? It was the RSC, the Royal Shakespeare Company did it where Iago was black.
Oh really?
Yeah, yeah, he was Jamaican. Iago and Othello were black, and it kind of took away that motive that Iago actually hated him for his race because that's one thing that never really rang true to me. And then I don't think that was particularly their plan of doing that, but for me that really helped ring that home that it wasn't really necessary that Iago hates him because he's black. If anything, it pulls the motive even closer, like saying like, "Oh, this Moor can be all high and mighty, and then I'm just left to be his fucking right hand man, or not even his right hand man." That's
Casio.
Cassio. Sorry, wrong Shakespeare.
Yeah, you're thinking like Measure for Measure and the rest of them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, with that being said,
Yeah.
let's do a quick outro. Thanks for watching, folks. If you have any other ideas of things we can review, films we can talk about, or subjects you want to talk about that think we should cover in terms of acting or masculinity, please hit us up on peacockpodcast1@gmail.com. That's in the show notes if you don't care to remember that. And we'll see you,
Even any like
folks.
films or anything you want us to check out,
Anything at all.
anything,
We're game
music you
for
want
it.
us to listen to. Hey.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, folks. Thank you for watching this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you
Much
very
love.
much. Hold up before we go.
Oh, sugar.
Oh, throw the
Oh,
love out
share
there.
the
Go on,
love.
share the
Share the
love.
love.
In times like
Share
this,
the
share the love. Thank you,
Remember,
everyone.
look after yourself, folks. Okay.
Take care,
Catch
stay
you.
safe, and stay indoors until lockdown's over, of course.
Yeah.